All right, we had the pleasure of hearing from a very entrepreneurial executive who wants to change his company, change Japan, and think out of the box. But you know what's surprising is, unbeknownst to you, the next Tsunami-san may be sitting right here at this conference. And I'll tell you why. Here at the U.S.-Japan Council, we don't just talk the talk, we do things. And one thing that came out of last year's U.S.-Japan Council conference was this idea. It sprang from the membership itself. That is to create a business contest to spur new ideas, entrepreneurism, innovation that would help revitalize the disaster-struck Tohoku region of northern Japan. And so the U.S.-Japan Council teamed up with the Tomodachi Initiative, which in itself is a joint project of the U.S.-Japan Council and the U.S. Embassy in Japan, in order to come up with this business context. And we had the top 3 finalists being judged before a panel today, and we have the top 3 finalists here at our luncheon. And so, here to announce the winners, we have 2 from the U.S.-Japan Council, Councilmember Catherine Ibata-Ahrens, and Ernie Higa, a member of the U.S.-Japan Council's Board of Counselors, and Ninoi-san, I'm sure you know as well as others, his brother-in-law headed Kentucky Fried Chicken in Japan. And another connection, by the way, to the U.S.-Japan Council, you talk about Starbucks, Tully's Coffee. The one who is in charge of Tully's Coffee in Japan is Itoen, and Itoen's Honjo-san is also a member of the U.S.-Japan Council. So talk about connections and relationships here in this very room. But getting back to this issue, I'd like to call to the stage Catherine Ibata-Ahrens, Ernie Higa, and the advisory board and the top 3 finalists.
Thank you, Fred, for those kind remarks. I'm Catherine Ibata-Ahrens, as he mentioned, a member of the U.S.-Japan Council, former JAL delegate from 2011, and current director of the Asian Business and Political Economy program at DePaul University in Chicago. I am the co-founder of the Tomodachi Tohoku Challenge with my colleague and good friend Yumi Kuwana, who unfortunately could not join us today. I'd like to extend a special thanks to Mrs. Irene Hirano Inoue for providing the strength of leadership to get us going and rolling on our project when we met as a team last year in October with members of our entrepreneurship task force, including Dane Kono and Gary Moriwaki, and our fearless young leaders, Dana Heatherton and Kei Ashizawa, to launch the project. I'd also like to extend a special thanks to Mrs. Winthrop Abbott and Mrs. Suzanne Basala, who are here joining us today from the Tomodachi Initiative team in Tokyo. Our members of our Entrepreneurship Leadership Board also were participants in the panel, and I'd like to extend some thanks to these people who've been really long-standing and very supportive, ongoing, interactive supporters of our project. Mr. Jeffrey Char, President of J-Seed Ventures, please stand as I recognize you. And he is the Chief Mentor at Venture Generation Incubator in Tokyo. Mr. Robert Eberhardt, project leader and researcher at the Stanford Project on Japanese Entrepreneurship, who hosted our launch event. I hope that many of you who were attending there are also here today at Stanford University Business School in April this year. Thank you, Bob. As you know, Mr. Ernie Higa, who is our founding member of our leadership board, is the chairman and CEO of Higa Industry, and I will be turning the moderation over to him in a moment. Thank you, Ernie. Mr. Taisuke Sasanuma, who is the representative partner of Vantage Partners LLP, a private equity firm in Tokyo, Japan. And finally, Dr. Norman Winarski, the vice president of SRI Ventures. Thank you. The 3 finalists that I'm about to introduce to you today are really should be commended and congratulated for making it this far. They went through a rigorous 2-stage application process and were selected from a much larger pool that was whittled down to a top 10 at the end of July. And now I am very pleased to introduce Ground Zero Incubation Center, who is led by Hiroshi Asaka. Please stand as I recognize you. Thank you. Please come up onto the stage. Nanomis Technologies, led by team leader Dr. Kazuo Matsuura-san. And Yoake Rice Burger Company, represented by team leader Kenji Suzuki. just want to say that these are all excellent business plans. Some of them have been up and running already. The teams are really amazing in terms of their dedication and energy. In the end, it was a difficult decision, and we almost missed lunch, having spent quite some time trying to deliberate. And I wish we could award 3 prizes today, but unfortunately we only have one first prize, and I will turn the podium over to my colleague Ernie Higa to make that announcement. Thank you.
Again, I would like to echo Catherine's congratulations to, first of all, the 3 candidates to have come this far in the process to be chosen for our program. As was mentioned earlier, U.S.-Japan Council, among one of the many missions that they have, is to foster entrepreneurship between the U.S. and Japan. And so with the help of JSEED as an incubator and also Sunbridge, we thought we would try to identify 3 up-and-coming entrepreneurs in Japan to emulate Tsunami. By the way, I would just like to take this 1 second to talk. I just came from New York, and I was just there with Professor Takeuchi from the Harvard University, and he gave a speech on Wise Leader, and I was watching, and all of a sudden on the screen came up Tak's picture, so... I think he's a great inspiration for our up-and-coming entrepreneurs. Well, and today, for those of you who attended, we had some very exciting presentations from all 3, from 3 different fields. And my own experience as an entrepreneur is that the key element is really passion and enthusiasm, and all 3 of them had that, which made it very difficult for us to choose. However, we do have to make a choice. It's a very difficult one. And so for the first prize, or the prize that we decided would go to Nanimist. Congratulations. Okay. There's so many, as I said, things that we considered, but Nanimist has a technology that we think has global applications and a huge potential market. But they want to start off to build jobs and help Tohoku where they're located, and they are also working in conjunction with Tohoku University. And so we thought they would have a big impact on Tohoku, as well as has Japan and global implications for their business. So it was really a great and exciting presentation, and you know, the technology itself really is one that I think if you're able to develop to the next stage, will be quite incredible. And so Sunbridge, Alan Miner Sunbridge, has agreed to help and incubate them, and that would be our contribution to perhaps enhance their business model. The second, out of the 3, the number 2 company that we chose was Yoake on their Kome Burger. So, thank you. I know a little bit about hamburgers, but it was so I had a few thoughts. However, I think that certainly, again, his passion, his enthusiasm, and his unique concept of trying to promote Japanese rice burgers, both in Japan and the United States, following the reverse of Starbucks and following Tsunami steps, I think would be an interesting concept. And certainly, as we all know, Japanese cuisine is becoming more and more of a fad, or more and more of the fashion around the world. And so Jeff Char of JC has agreed to also incubate and work with you to be able to enhance your model. And third but not least, because as I said, there are many candidates to come up to this point, was Ground Zero. And Ground Zero is an incubator company to develop businesses in the Tohoku region. And we actually have 2 incubator companies working with us, both JSeed and Sunbridge. And so we thought that we would have them consult with you to be able to enhance your incubation model. It felt a little bit like American Idol. It was very tough to judge. But anyway, these are our winners and the future entrepreneurs for Japan. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Ernie. Thank you, judges. And thank you and congratulations to our 3 winners.